If you had to guess right now, and that's what I'm asking you to do here on Chicago Bears Now, my name is Harrison Graham, predict what will Caleb Williams' rookie year stats be? You could do yards, touchdown to interception, completion percentage, all of it, rushing yards too. Go above and beyond, hop in the comments, give me your Caleb Williams stat predictions because guess what? That's what we're doing on today's show. All right, I'm going to go through Caleb Williams' rookie stats and overall predictions as we get into today's episode and to Caleb's true debut. Of course, he played in a couple preseason games, but this is the real deal now, and it starts on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. Something to remember, no Bears quarterback ever has thrown for 4,000 yards or more in a season or 30 touchdown passes in a single season. Two marks that we hope Caleb surpasses at some point. Whether those hit this year, we'll see. But we'll kind of go one by one here on what I think he will and will not do. And then at the end of the show, I'll have a full stat projection for Caleb Williams. All right. I do think he'll top 4,000 passing yards, assuming he stays healthy and plays all 17. That's the caveat. If he plays all 17 games, I expect him to hit that number. And why do I expect that? Well, 4,000 yards over 17 games, that's 235.3 yards per game. That's not outrageous. I know for the Bears it is because they just have never had competent quarterback play from a passing standpoint at least. But this should not be some earth-shattering number to reach. In fact, and it'll be outlined in a minute, it is much easier to reach 4,000 passing yards than it is to reach 30 touchdown passes. Like half the league every year hits 4,000 yards, or at least a third. With the weapons around him, the offensive line should be better. Caleb's just ability. If he's healthy, he'll do it. That's my prediction. Now, if he throws for 3,800 yards, that doesn't mean it's a disappointing year. I just think he will hit 4,000 yards. Obviously, weather plays a role. Playing in a place like Chicago, NFC North, I get all that, but I still think he hits 4,000 passing yards. I don't think he'll throw for 30 touchdowns this year. Not that he'll never do it, but it really doesn't happen as often as you would think. I think people remember like the Peyton Manning 55 touchdown pass season, and they're like, oh, come on, 30? That's like barely even half that. Well, if you've noticed in recent years, even though it's more of a passing league, guys aren't throwing for 45 touchdowns a season. They're just not. And especially for rookies, only one rookie ever has surpassed 30 touchdown passes. Herbert threw for 31 in 2020. As great as C.J. Stroud was last year, he only threw for 23 touchdowns. I think he missed 2 games, but still, it's not like he was a threat to hit 30. You look at last year in the entire league, only 4 players threw for 30 touchdowns. Dak led the league with 36, Jordan Love 32, Brock Purdy 31, Jared Goff 30. Like, I think people have this idea of, yes, it's a passing league and, this and that. It's not easy to throw for 30 touchdowns. 1, quarterbacks get hurt. 2, it's not, you almost have to throw for 2 a week. And that sounds easy, but it's really not. The history of the league will tell you it's not. So I'll go 26. And I think that's pretty optimistic. That probably would be top 10 in the NFL, top 12, depending on how this year goes. Scoring could be back up this year. It was a little bit of a dip last year. But 26 touchdown passes for Caleb, that would be a pretty good number, like especially if the interceptions are 13 or less. That would be at a 2-to-1 ratio. So I think he'll get 26. Could he threaten to throw for 30? Of course, he's capable of it. But predicting it, is 1 in 8 chance based on last year. I don't think that's that likely. Okay, I'll set the more or less at 25.5 touchdown passes. Type M if you think it'll be more. I said M, 26. Type L if you think it'll be less. More or less, 25.5 touchdown passes for Caleb Williams this year. Well, speaking of more or less in stat projections, that is what PrizePicks does. Daily fantasy sports, and the way you play is simple. You set your lineups with 2 to 6 players, and you choose more or less on the different stat projections for games. Season-long stat projections as well are available. Get started right now at prizepicks.com/CLNS. That code CLNS is going to get you a $50 bonus once you place that initial $5 entry. So play for 5, get 50 bonus. Doesn't matter if you hit or not. Even if you miss your entry, you're still going to get that bonus directly into your account, which is awesome. A play I like in week 1, depending on when you're watching this, hopefully Pacheco found the end zone on Thursday night. Can Caleb Williams throughout the month of September, half a passing yard, so they're giving you a gimme. Already halfway home if you just do a 2-player entry, like Pacheco there with the Demon pick. Hopefully he scored. Get started today. $5 entry, going to get you that bonus 50. And typical 2-player entries, you get 3 extra money. So $10 to win 30. This one you get a little boost because the Pacheco one's a Demon pick, which basically means they're telling you it's a little harder to hit. But I love that value. If you're watching live on Thursday, Pacheco is basically the only Chiefs true healthy running back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on NFI. Samaje Perine just got there. And Carson Steele's a rookie UDFA running back, fullback hybrid. So love Pacheco to find the end zone. Get started. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS to get going tonight. Okay, let's keep it rolling with the predictions. I think he'll rush for at least 300 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. Kind of a big number, but I think he's going to, I think Waldron will run him some, like by design in the red zone to use that extra blocker. Obviously, he's not a Justin Fields runner, but he's underrated as a runner. He's pretty fast, and he's built, so he can take hits if needed. And as we saw in the preseason, he'll probably just have 2 or 3 scramble drill ones alone where he's just keeping plays alive and runs in. Say he has 3 of those, we only have to find 3 more. QB sneak, designed boots from Waldron, designed QB power. Like, over the course of 17 games, I think 6 rushing touchdowns is very much on the table. He's an opportunistic runner. That's the word I would use. Like, he's not looking to run, but he's very capable of it. Had the nice scramble in the Bills game as well to extended drive on a 3rd down. So he'll run enough. 300 yards plus over a 17-game season, not that many. I think he hits that number. And the 6 touchdowns, a little more bold, but I like him to get there. This is a bold one. He will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field in Week 18. And the Bears will win that game. I'm going to get to my record prediction here in a minute, but he will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field. I expect Caleb Williams to rise up in a lot of these big games. Doesn't mean he's going to win them all, but I think that's going to be a personal game to him. His QB crush growing up, sucks to say, but you watch him play and you're like, I see the resemblance, was Aaron Rodgers. You don't think he's going to be motivated to go into that Lambeau Field where Aaron Rodgers played for 20 years almost and beat the crap out of Jordan Love? I do. I think he's a competitor like that. So I expect Caleb to deliver the goods in these big matchups, and I'm calling it now. He will outplay Jordan Love at Lambeau Field in Week 18. You can book it, save this video, and when he gets outplayed, you can scrap me on Twitter, whatever you want to do. All right, one more here, then we'll get to the end of this video. Bears watch parties all season long. Speaking of Bears-Packers, we'll be live for both of those games, every game, including Bears-Titans this weekend. So subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll go live at least an hour before every single game, if not an hour and 15 minutes, to get you ready for kickoff. So lock us in all season long. Okay, another bold one. He will lead the Bears to a playoff win. I'm not going to go full Nick Wright, pick them to make the Super Bowl. I don't think they're quite ready for that. I think there's still a couple holes to fill, experience to gain, especially for Caleb. But I think they make the playoffs, and I think they win a playoff game. That's what I think happens here. I just think the NFC, I think there's a lot of depth in the conference. There's not a lot of dominant teams. So if you get the right matchup, like Philly or Dallas out of the NFC East, I feel like that's winnable if you're a wild card team. Whoever wins the NFC South, if you draw them in the first round, I think that's winnable. San Francisco would be tough. Detroit would be tough, although you would have faced them twice, so you'd be familiar there. Depending on a couple other teams that could win divisions. But I think the Bears are, if they get in, a guy like Caleb is capable of going nuclear in a one-game situation, and the Bears defense is going to travel. Like, it's going to play well. So I really do think they have a good shot to make the playoffs, and if they do, ultimately win a playoff game. All right, here are my stat projections to add them all up. I'm going to go just under 65% completion there, 4,100 passing yards, 4,109 to be exact, 26 touchdowns against 11 interceptions there. 349 rush yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. I'll add 5 fumbles there. How about that? So 32 touchdowns to 16 turnovers, so 2-to-1 ratio there. If he had this season, literally be the best Bears quarterback in franchise history for a single season. And I think this, more than anything else, the highs will be extraordinarily high. Like the highlight reel plays in the big moments that we will see from Caleb this year will be as high as we can ever remember. Justin Fields certainly had those highs. The problem for him is his lows were very low. That's what you got to avoid. You got to avoid the multi-disaster games, right? Like, you're going to make mistakes. He's acknowledged that, but the big moments are going to be fun to watch for Caleb Williams. The highs are going to be very high, like I mentioned, and I can't wait to get it started, man. So there you have it, my Caleb stat predictions and overall projections for 2024 as he kicks off his career on Sunday afternoon. If you're excited to watch Caleb play, type me in the comments. Let's go. How could you not be? Get the me's in the comments right now, and let's go, baby. I'm just getting chills thinking about Sunday. The boys running out of the tunnel and getting ready to go at Soldier Field. All right, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can find me at HGramNFL. I'll be tweeting throughout the game. I'm always tweeting throughout the week around the Bears, the NFL, college football, everything else. So rock with me at HGramNFL.